I do problems by job impression, right? He's done some things. Hundred percent. Scott was left in the direction.
Yeah,
Scott was born for a while.
yes, yeah. Now they're going through it. I don't know. Yes,
All right, started. I don't want to. Okay, so we had a motion and a second to come out of closed session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. So at this point, we need approval of the agenda.
So for the minutes, the motion was made at 6:41 by Dustin and seconded by Jim. So then you'll need a vote to come out.
Sure.
So all those in favor of coming out of closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
And we are now in open session. Okay. We do have some changes to the agenda that has publicized. So there are several. Under consent agenda number 1A, we are adding Janice Housingay, server at Southside Elementary. Under bid approval, we are changing the first motion now as the Board of Education approved the base bid of $97,894 from Valley Construction. Second motion is the board approves the first alternate bid of $134,092 from Valley Construction. And the third motion is the Board of Education approves the second alternate bid of $92,135 for Valley Construction of Rock Island.
And that will be explained.
Yep. Under
The email you sent, it was from Larson, not Valley.
I'll explain all of that.
Okay, all right.
This is the
Yeah.
most confusing bid I've ever done.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we're.
no, we're good. That's a very good question. Under certified action, we eliminated, excuse me one second here. What did we do? So motion 1 is the hiring of Anna Howder as certified math teacher at Morrison Junior High. Number 2 now is the hiring of Jonathan Hendricks as certified ag education teacher at Morrison High School. 3 is the hiring of Shayna Hudson as certified secondary teacher at Northside. 4 is the hiring of Kevin Kilker as a certified business teacher at Morrison High School. And 5 is the motion approves the hiring of Rachel Tomaszewski as a certified elementary music teacher at Northside and Southside. Everybody get all that? It's okay if you didn't.
Any questions?
I think actually there's another one that I missed. We have the, no, it's on it. Okay.
Yep.
So now we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving along to approval of the previous minutes.
So we have 2 motions here. The first motion is the Board of Education approves the amended minutes of the March 18th, 2024 meeting as presented. And the second motion is the Board of Education approves the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 meeting as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second. if you remember, we inadvertently had Dustin in the minutes from the 18th meeting. That's been changed. Other than that, that was the only change for those.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving along to consent agenda. And here we have our district bills as of May 20th, 2024, building activity reports. We have our non-certified personnel recommendations for resignations. We have Janice Housengay, server at Southside Elementary, Veronica Side at the nurse at Northside Elementary, and there are no hires at this time. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call.
Folgers,
Yes.
Piolson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Vanhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, moving along to communication public comments.
We have 2 people signed up. As a reminder, everyone gets 3 minutes. Heather, you signed up first, so you get to go first.
Hi.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on, but your time's already started.
I know better than you.
Oh, fancy.
I'm getting fancy. All right. Mark, get set, go.
I'm Heather Bush, LED librarian at Northside and parent to 2 soon-to-be MHS grads. I'm here to speak in support of the school libraries. We've met with Aaron, so I know you guys have information on that. But the school librarians just want the board to be aware that although we realize tough decisions need to be made, the library aides want the board to be aware that if the district librarian position is left vacant, our school libraries are soon to fizzle out. We cannot function successfully as a certified library. We can't apply for grants, which is how we get most of the books in the district. We also can't update our software, keep our software system going, which is how we check in and out all of the books. With the departure of the district librarian, MHS also will not have a library aide, and we don't know if there's plans in place. We want you all to be aware of that. I learned about so much stuff that the high school library does that, as a parent of 2 kids, I never knew, with help with filling out college applications, with resumes, with college essays. I know a couple of my kids in my life had help with that this year. So they also are the home to the Caring Closet, which is a resource for students in need at MHS. Hopefully another teacher would take that on themselves, but I'm not sure. It's located in the library right now. So we don't want all of this to disappear. I don't think the board means to have school libraries disappear by making budget cuts. I don't want that to inadvertently be an effect of what happens through all of this. So just so you guys are aware. I also want to speak in support of all the paraprofessionals in our district and invite you guys to come up to my library at Northside on any given day for half a day and come see what those paraprofessionals do. They are not extra, especially with COVID, especially with if our pre-K program goes away. Those kids are going to be coming in fresh with no preschool. Those pre-K kids aren't going to go to preschool. They're the at-risk kids. If we don't have support systems for our teachers in place, we're not going to keep attention of our libraries, or of our staff and of our teachers. And I know that's what we're trying to do. So come on up any day and come see what's going on. Our teachers have been doing their best with less for years, since my kids have been there, with minimal support systems in place. If we keep chipping away at these support systems, we're never going to get retention. We're never going to attract the best teachers. I know you all know this, but I just felt like it needed to be said out in a meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look, I had 30 seconds left.
You can thank those till next time.
All right, Barb.
Good evening. My name is Barb Bees. I'm president of CAPA, the Children's Art Preservation Association. As you know, we plan and organize Paint the Town, but we are also a lot more than that. CAPA was formed in 1993 as a partnership between our teachers and the community to create and promote opportunities to participate in and enjoy the visual arts. Through the years, CAPA has provided financial support to the art curriculums, to the purchase of equipment like Raku kilns, digital cameras, paint, paper, portable display boards, and other supplies, as well as writing grants for visiting artists. The art curriculum in Morrison has a long history, and I'm sure you know this, of producing students that have chosen to pursue a career in the arts, from teachers to artists to those that go into administrative positions. I and we, as a lot of the CAPA members that are here and Friends of the Arts that are here, we're here because we want to express to you how we feel about the visual arts programs. We understand that the position of an elementary art teacher may be in jeopardy. At the same time, we and I want to acknowledge that we know that you're, as a board, trying to struggle with a pot of money that is not bottomless. So we are well aware of that. We just want you to know what our beliefs are, to share them with you. The visual arts play an important and crucial role alongside of the other curriculums in the student's development, to cognitively think, to reason, in the development and understanding of concepts, and to express oneself at an early age. The visual arts aren't just about making pictures or looking at notable art. They're a key to human development, communicating with others, understanding concepts, and job security, no matter what their choice of employment is. Research shows that only about 25% of the population think in words. The other 75% think in a combination of pictures and words. About 25% is just in pictures. We all doodle from time to time, and some of you might even be doodling while I'm talking, which is normal. I do indeed sometimes. It's perfectly normal, but also what that is visual art. It's a self-expression and a way that we form our thoughts and problem solve. One final thought, because I'm getting close to the end of my time. In terms of employment and the way that the visual arts impact our lives, practically every consumer product, every industrial product, package, media, social media, industrial tools, everything has been graced by an artist or an industrial designer's touch. Art is in our museums, on our refrigerators, but it also parks in our garages, mows our lawns, and sits on the countertops. We would be happy to meet with you at any time to discuss the research based on this, and we hope that, as it can be, that you will offer an opportunity for this position to be filled. And thank you for giving us the time to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Moving along to good news for around the district.
One of the things I shared off from Northside was we had seen some nice growth in our math scores. We have just a couple students who were out last week who haven't tested, but overall the results are awesome. We've talked about our small reading groups that we've been doing for a year, and the previous 2 years our growth was 48%, 38%. Our data now showing 57%, so we almost got 20% more students meeting their growth targets in reading. What's beautiful as part of this reading pull-out time, Karen Mayberry, our math interventionist, is also pulling out a small group. And we did 64% growth, 59% growth in this year in math. We're at 74% growth. And that's overall as a building, which I was really, really happy about. I know the board asked before, who's growing? Is that just, are we putting a lot of resources in the lower kids and they're growing? So I had it broken into quartiles, and what is great in math and reading both, we have a lot of students, more than 50%, other than one small group in reading was 48. Other than that, more than half of our students met in every quartile in reading and in math. And math, the beautiful thing with Karen working with them, 82% of that lowest quartile met their growth, which is really good for them moving forward at this young age to get them set up for success. It's really important. That's it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
One or two things.
One or two things. So we had our Bikes for Books program ran from February till May 3rd. We had 740 books read by 211 students that participated. We will announce the winner on May 28th for our presentation and do our SEL celebration day. We wanted to thank Wade Kaufman and all of his hard work for kind of putting this all together. And we also had our video game night last week. We didn't think it would be as big as the first one, but it actually grew quite a bit. Out of our 211 students, we had 153 sign up and participate, so it was really good.
What
So
kind
we-
of games are they playing? This group, the people here might be appreciative of kids.
Galaga, Space Invaders, a lot of the older games, so it's been really good. Dance Dance Revolution was a pretty popular one too. So, but yeah, we just want to keep it growing and just use that to kind of produce different field trips, or we talked about maybe a virtual reality headset classroom set, so we can do virtual field trips. So we're looking to go in that direction.
Okay, and I apologize, I lose my voice here. Most people are probably happy about that. No, I just want to, I put in my notes, we did have 2 individuals attend the IDSA state track meet, Millie Wetzel and Lane Decker. Lane ended up placing 4th in the high jump overall in the 8th grade 3A division, so very proud of that. Millie ended up in 14th overall in the state for girls 7th grade discus, so a great showing by them. We had a nice send-off for them. We did it Thursday after school because they were leaving before school on Friday. Our students lined the hallways and we played Eye of the Tiger for them, and they got to walk through a pretty nice cheering section and all that, so very proud of them. And then just like Andy, still going through the data for our MAP assessment, but once again, very good growth. We're comparing both fall to spring and then winter to spring. So we're checking both sides of that data to see how much growth there was just in the last 3 months, and then also in the last 8 months. So hopefully we'll have most of that taken care of. Probably not tomorrow, but by Wednesday. And see, once again, we offered a incentive for them, which seems to boost achievement for the junior high students, but it's been a good thing, and excited to see where those scores are. I did look at our 6th grade math tentatively, and kind of like Andy, about 70% of our students hit a growth target this year in math. So math alone, compared to the last couple of years, has been in the high 20s and low 30s with that. So very proud of our students, our teachers, faculty and staff at the junior high have really done well this year.
Excellent, thank you.
Since we met last, got a lot going on at MHS. Prom this year was at Eagle Point Lodge on April 27th. That was my first time being out there. That is just such a beautiful place. I was just driving up, kind of what I was going to expect, and it still beat it. The view was fantastic. So great night. The kids had an awesome time. Prom king and queen this year. The queen was Madeline Mills, and our prom king was Deshaun McQueen. They chose junior princess and prince were Cameron Veltrop and Blake Housingay. We had honors night May 1st, which actually Lainey is here. She does a great job organizing that. So many phone calls, emails, and things to follow up to make sure everybody shows up and is supposed to be there. And I think everybody showed up except for one, which you knew about, so I had to take their job. But that worked out really well. But just a great night to recognize our students for so many different things. Actually, if you guys check your school email, I shared the slideshow with all those awards and pictures and students. But like under Scott's advice, I trimmed those 37 slides for this. So check that out. I emailed that to you guys. That was a great night. That was my first time doing that. I've always done high school award ceremonies during the day, but I think so many students aren't involved that when you do that night, it's much more special. So you have really a refined group there of kids, really high achieving kids, none of which I was surprised to see, but really was pleased to see. So a couple of those, Friday, May 3rd, the IPA every year has a leadership luncheon or brunch. I went over there with Mr. McCormick and Mr. Robbins. Two of my students, Carson Strading and Peyton Emerson, were chosen by staff, and then kind of narrowed it down for me, and those are the two students I chose. Some really, really impressive seniors that I got to know this year. Friday, May 3rd, the same day, Carson, Deshaun, and Chase signed their national letter of intent to play football at Monmouth College. So watching those guys play this year, that's going to be a real influx of talent for Monmouth to have all three of them at the same time. So they're very excited. Talked with them about that. I played college football, so I shared some advice with them, and I think they're going to hit the ground running. They're really impressive students. Our boys track team, May 16th, last Thursday, competed at sectionals. They placed second overall. And as we kind of expected, they had some really good athletes this year, and they qualified six athletes in 7 different events, 3 of which were relays. So some really fast times. They're hoping to reproduce that at Eastern Illinois University this upcoming weekend. So Brady Anderson, Levi Milder, Rylan Alvarado, Camden Pruse, Chase Newman, all qualified. They'll take some alternates to make sure in case some of the kids get injured, but those are the qualifying track athletes in the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 4x4, the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the long jump. So it should be a good weekend for them. And then, Chase is also running the 800. The last slide I have is just from this last weekend. That was the theme tonight, I guess, was art. So we had the spring art show at Morrison Junior High School this weekend. I know just the artwork I saw from my students is just completely blows me away. I couldn't do any of it. I can barely do a cube. So seeing the projects that even the elementary students created is really impressive. Like things that I wouldn't even think of. So I shared some of those images. Mr. Wright and then some other teachers and some students shared some of these with me. So I want to share with you guys. Just really some impressive stuff. The kids did a great job this last weekend. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you for your reports. Moving on to our finance facility reports. We met before the meeting, and a lot of what we discussed we will go over in more detail tonight as either action or discussion items. But first off, we talked about the junior high north side HVAC. Unfortunately, not perfect. There's issues with the system, and really trying to get that hammered out and followed up on, make sure the contractor can get those issues worked. I think there's at the junior high air conditioning issues where it's not always working and whatnot. So we need to make sure that's taken care of. The high school track, the building permit has been completed, so that should get started this summer and get working on that. The junior high sign is done. It looks great. You see that information out there. Then we will go over the door replacement, the scoreboards, all of that in the meeting.
You talked about the permit for the track, and do we have a building permit for the greenhouse yet?
Yes.
We do? Excellent.
Yep, that's
It's
ready
nice
to
to
go,
see
and
those
that's,
projects.
delivery date is early June, I believe.
Oh, awesome.
Great. Can't think of the exact date. Thank you.
Okay, enrollment report.
Enrollment report, we are down 5 students from this time last year. We're at 976, and we're still 21 students down from where we were a year ago. 'Tis the season, or 'tis the part of the year for kids to relocate, unfortunately. So, looking, I did some early analysis. We're at about a 30% decrease over the last 20 years. So times are changing.
Okay, moving along to old business. We have the high school score video boards.
So this is an action item tonight. The motion is the Board of Education approves the purchase of the score video boards for Morrison High School for the cost of $123,000.
Is there a motion?
So, second.
Discussion.
I guess I still want to know who's going to be in charge of this, who's going to be calling for sponsorship.
I honestly think people are going to be knocking on our door. I've heard of several entities already in town that are interested in signing up.
We just have a point of contact.
I mean, yeah.
It's gonna be me, guys. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Be the sole person to start after talking with, and I agree with Superintendent Vance. People are gonna be asking because they already have contacted me and reached out. But after talking with some local principals and superintendents that do this, they never thought of having the kids do that part of the solicitation and or kind of deals part, because that would need to be done completely legal and on the up and up and between adults. So that would be done by me. The kids could do drafting documents, they can create the videos, they can run the boards, but that legal transactional piece needs to be done by me. So after we spoke last time, I regretted not just saying that, because there's a lot of ways to do it. But then, like I said, got some feedback and they're like, we didn't even think about letting kids do that. So I think that we went down a rabbit hole on that. I will take care of that.
And it's a good learning experience for them to get part of it, but.
Yep.
So is this going to be incorporated in the class, or is this
So part of approving the business teacher will be increasing our business classes, one of which would be sports marketing, which plays perfectly along with this, and using the software to create the videos. which are usually running in the 10 to 20-second range. Some schools have limited their sponsorships to 10 because that gets them the minimum they need to continue doing the program. The opinion of the Orion and the Sherrard principals were that we would probably get more having a bigger base of population. And 20 would be a really suitable number, they felt, which is kind of where I was thinking 1 to 2 dozen. So very encouraged by the updates, just in communicating with some of the people that have done it, and then in looking more into what you guys had some questions about.
So 10 to 20 second videos, how much are we looking at charging per video? If we thought
So
about
these
that?
contracts, and I got a couple examples, which is what I based mine off of, which they're currently using, is that each business can pay $750 for a single season, which would be volleyball versus basketball. We don't have an outdoor board. So that takes football off the table for now. If they do $1,000 for that annual contract, they would get each of those seasons. And he said most people are coming to them and wanting to pay the $1,000 because they go to a game, they see the advertisement, this is easy money. It's actually incredibly cheap for what they're getting for it. And it then, like Aaron said, gives the kids a chance to kind of work on that, get the experience doing it. And I think they're gonna, just looking at some of the examples online, the videos that are produced, the board is, it's gigantic. If you guys look at the mock-up, what we already have is big, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good 40% bigger, and it's gonna be more visible. I've already talked with Mr. Patton about ways we can use some of that same digital marketing and put it on some of the other screens we have, which could create more revenue, but I think we just need to start with the video board and see where that goes.
Yeah.
Now, is there like a netting that goes in front of this?
Yep, totally, and I checked on, so I don't have an answer on that one. I checked on if there's ever been any issues with these boards working, not working, and the 3 principals that use them in Riverdale, Orion, and Sherrard said they love them. If they've ever had any issues, period, they are fixed. Tech support, any problems that occur, the customer service is great, beyond the fact that one of them who's had it 3 years, had no issues. So just hearing real positive feedback on people that are using them right now for similar types of setups that we're going to use with similar number of games in an area with roughly the same student population. So it just kind of matches up. And it's not outlandish to be making these decisions.
We're getting it through the same company.
That I don't know. We didn't get into the, okay, there we go. Thank you, Scott.
If
Yes.
you talk to Rock Ridge, we're getting it.
Okay, I don't want any different, this brand's got a great reputation, and what we're getting from a different brand, company, different brand. That's what
All right. I know Fulton has like a netting in front, and they've got a,
Fulton's is different through a different company.
Okay.
This is an older version.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sure you could add a netting in there.
Yeah, it's got like a bar across the bottom, hold the netting down, so it keeps the balls from, or mainly PE.
Anything.
PE from,
Yep.
taking it out.
Okay.
reading through the proposal, just, there's a number of items that's not included in the proposal.
Mhm.
So just make sure we have a firm understanding of, what it's gonna cost for those extras before, we sign on the dotted line.
And I have talked to the Booster Club, and they are undergoing some change in leadership next month, but they are willing and interested in some sort of partnership, whether it be an advertisement or whether it be paying for the continuation of the software. So I'm not sure that'll get done by the next board meeting, but there is some interest from that group as well.
Because the things aren't not good are removal of the current scoreboard,
I've
the
talked to
data
John.
cabling. Yeah, so is that something we're gonna do in-house?
We should be able to.
John and Dean put them up, they can take them down.
Okay,
We're gonna then hopefully move those over to the junior high.
okay.
Okay.
Then Joe's gonna install them at the junior high.
He was making a joke, you caught him.
Give me a call, Joe, I'll be
I know,
there.
even now, I don't know if he has to come.
All right. I think it's promising to have something that actually makes money versus
Yes.
just costing it, which is nice. So let's go ahead and vote.
Pivotal,
Yes.
Bromwell,
Yes.
Van Hoff,
Yes.
Ingleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay. Let's move along to the Morrison fiscal year 24 amended budget.
I know there's gonna be a lot of questions. I put together a brief presentation on what the amended budget is going to look like. So the first thing, for all those in attendance and all those watching at home, what is a budget? We all know what a budget is for our households. But when it pertains to a school district, the most basic definition is that it's a spending plan that the Board of Education approves that gives the administration the authority to spend district money. It is essentially a guess at how much revenue we are going to bring in versus what our expenses are going to be for that year. When you look at the district budget page, there's going to be a lot of different numbers on those. Those are not the final numbers. We don't know what the final numbers in terms of revenue or expenses are until we get our audit in the fall of the following year. So the other thing I wanted to clarify is school districts have lots of different years. They have a calendar year, they have a school year, they have a levy year, they have a contract year, and they have a fiscal year, and none of them are the same. So for the purposes of a fiscal year, that is the business year of a school district, that runs from July 1 through June 30th of the next year. So for example, the teacher contractual year runs from September 1 through August 31st. So when our teachers come back in August, their new contract doesn't kick in until September. All right, so there's lots of different years. So in September, by law, the district has to approve by September 30th a budget or a spending plan. So in September 23, we approved, or the board, excuse me, approved a budget, and I just took our three biggest funds plus working cash, because working cash has become a source of contention over the last 2 years. So we entered this fiscal year with about $3.8 million in our educational fund reserve. That's our reserve balance. That's our savings account. We have a little over $371,000 in operations and maintenance. That's what we use to run our buildings. We had $571,000 in our transportation, and we had roughly $280,000 in our working cash. We projected $10.3 million in revenue and $9.9 million in expenses. So we were hopefully going to have a surplus on paper of about $400,000. That then, in theory, would increase our reserve balance to 4.2. We were projecting deficits in both O&M and transportation. By law, we can't spend anything out of working cash, so there's never an expenditure out of working cash, so that's always theoretically going to go up. The current amended budget, and this is where a lot of people are going to ask questions, especially given some of the comments that the board has made over the last several months regarding the need to cut costs. So we're actually looking at a projected revenue of almost $10.6 million in education, $750,000 in O&M, $600,000 in transportation, and $75,000. Projected expenses, $9.9, $963, and so on. So you can see now we're looking at a surplus of almost $650,000. We're going to talk about that in a second. A deficit in O&M of $210, almost $56,000 in transportation, and again, there's never a deficit in working cash because you don't spend anything out. So here's going to be, excuse me, I'm one slide away. So what's the difference? $184,000 is what we think we're going to get now in revenue, more than what we thought we were going to get in September. Only about $7,000 in O&M, and only $500, excuse me, in transportation. Our expenses in education and O&M are projected to be less now than they were in September. So there's going to be your bigger surplus there. Unfortunately, we've had some increases in our transportation costs, so those are going to be higher. So the surplus deficit from, September to now is $240,000 in ed, $47,000 in O&M, and $31,000 less in transportation. So the biggest question that's probably being asked by people, so as you can see, here's just a visual representation. In all of our funds, our revenue is higher, and then the majority of our funds, our expenses are down. So that's why you see a greater surplus in education than we did in September. All right, so here's what everyone's asking. So if there's a surplus in the ed fund, why is the district looking at making or cutting costs? A couple things to remember. The budget for this fiscal year only reflects money we get this year and money we spend this year. So if we've got money coming in from last year, that goes onto this, we get it this fiscal year, it goes into this year's revenue. We've already spent that money. That money's gone. okay? So the budget reflects revenue expenses for this fiscal year. This budget includes money that we were supposed to get last year, that we've already paid for. Revenue varies depending on when taxes come in and how much in the taxes the district receives versus. So, pay our taxes in June. You pay your taxes in June, we get that check in June, that goes into our bank account in June. That money is supposed to be spent next year. Does that make sense? So it's going to look like you brought in more revenue in fiscal year 24, but you've already spent money last year, fiscal year, and you've already earmarked new money for next year. These last three are very important, and this gets to the crux of kind of the whole issue we're facing. This budget is including revenue streams that we are no longer going to get, including we got the last of our ESSER funds. We're getting no more ESSER money. We were due it last year, we didn't get it. We got it this year, which is why we see more revenue.
And ESSER was COVID-related money, so it could be spent on
specific things related to COVID. The big one is waste management facility. 20 years ago, when the waste management facility came in, instead of paying property taxes, they signed an agreement that we will give the district $50,000 a year for 20 years. This is year 20. So that $50,000 is never coming back. Everything covered by ESSER, our MAPS assessment, which Mr. Harridge and Mr. Robbins alluded to, RTI aides, interventionists. We created these positions using ESSER funds, some of which we know we're not going to replace because people are retiring, but other ones the boards are going to have to decide now, do we keep these going? These now have to come out of the ed fund. We use ESSER money to do math intervention, RTI aides. We bought curriculum with those. So all of those things now, that revenue stream is drying up. That's gone. With our working cash reserves depleted, we've put in about $200,000 to $250,000 a year over the last 3 to 4 years. So roughly $1 million from our working cash has gone into our O&M to pay those bills. That's gone. Those bills are going to keep coming. That money's got to come from somewhere. The only place it can come from is the ed fund. The other reason why this looks different, we didn't have an art teacher this year. We did a long-term sub in PE. We weren't able to fill certain positions. So if you fill positions, then those costs go up. That difference between what you bring in and what you spend dwindles again. So although the budget looks very good, and if I wasn't, people are going to doubt that when I say this, if I wasn't as honest as I am, I could spin this to say we're in a great position. Look, we got $650,000. We don't. We probably have a surplus to some extent, but that money is going to be needed more so than it's not. You win the lottery, you go buy something you don't need. So this is why the budget looks good, but in reality, it doesn't really impact much.
Or at least it's not negative, yes.
We did well. We need to keep focusing on this to continue to improve.
You have to continue what you've done and take into consideration long-term impacts of any purchases or any expenditures you make. That would include positions, that would include programs, that would include a lot of different things. Questions from the board?
No, it looks good.
Public questions? I know we're not supposed to do that, but I got one meeting left. What am I going to do? Well, if you think of any, feel free to stop in. I enjoy talking with people and explaining some of these things because school finance is very, very interesting and very difficult to explain. So,
perfect. Okay. Let's move along to the district refuse contract.
And I will put this presentation up on the website either tonight or tomorrow. So those people who are in attendance can crunch the numbers if they want. All right. The motion is Board of Education approves the contract with Green and Clean Disposal to serve as the district refuse company. I didn't know how to phrase that.
Right, that's fine. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Looks like
This-
we're gonna save some money.
Yeah, this saves money. So it makes
Keeps
sense.
it local, yep, for sure. Okay, roll call?
Bromville,
Yep.
Zamhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
Abstain.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the bid approval for the Morrison High School door project or construction.
This should be fine.
All right, so this is one of the most unique bid processes I've ever done in the 10 years I've been superintendent. The original, let's, how do you want to do this? 'Cause I can't really talk about it until we,
Sure, so
let's do the first one.
okay,
So the motion is the Board of Education approve the base bid of $97,894 to replace the doors and door frames of the top floor at Morrison High School from Valley Construction of Rock Island, Illinois.
So moved.
Second.
discussion?
Okay. So we applied last year for a grant, a maintenance grant through the state of Illinois for $50,000 for facility upgrades. And at that time, the board determined that that was going to go towards replacing the original doors in the high school. If you've been in the high school lately, they're old wood doors. You can shake the door frames in some of them. You know, literally, if you want to get in, you could probably kick the door in. So we went through the process of that. The initial estimate that we got from the architect was roughly $600,000 to do all 3 floors. Based on that estimate, the board wanted to look at essentially dividing the project into 3 different phases, if you will, 3 different parts. So the first part would be the top floor, the second part would be the middle floor, and the third part would be the ground floor. In order to see what we were going to get in terms of cost, you did the base bid of the top floor because that was the floor that you were going to do no matter what. And then the alternate bid was the middle floor, alternate 1 was the middle floor, and alternate 2 was the bottom floor. We had 4 companies come to and submit bids, and the bids were kind of all over the place. So in the email I sent out to you today, there was essentially 4 options the board could decide to do. They could do option 1, which was just the base bid with the top floor. Second option would be the top floor and the middle floor. The third option would be the top floor and the bottom floor, and the fourth option would be to do all 3 floors. With me so far? All right, so here's where it gets confusing. When you added up, when you calculated the cost of each of those options, it was different depending on which option you did. So example, one company was the lowest bid for option 1 and option 2. Another company was the low bid for option 3 and option 4. With me so far? All right. So here's the second part of this. If you want to do all 3, which is my recommendation because the original bid was $600,000. This bid total is $324,000. It's almost $300,000 less. We have minus the $50,000. We have $3 million in bonds sitting in the bank. I don't think you're going to get a better price if you just decide to do part of it now and part of it later. That's just my 2 cents. So if the board wants to do all 3, we vote now. If you don't want to do all 3, we have to amend the motions because there's lower bids for depending on which one you want to do. Kelly, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
I got you 100%.
So when they talk about the doors on the lowest floor.
That's the bottom floor.
That includes like the weight room
Yes.
doors.
The storage door.
Okay, because it's not even like the most expensive, which are there more doors on that?
There's more doors on the middle floor, I believe.
Which
Oh,
would
okay, oh, okay, so I
reflect
guess
the,
you include the swimming pool and all those down that hall, okay, that's true,
So I guess,
okay.
And I believe they-
so the swimming pool and cafeteria and all
We
of
went
that.
through, John, and I don't know every door, but 98.9% of the old wooden doors are going to be replaced.
Okay.
There are some doors that were replaced when we did the bathroom projects a couple years ago.
Now, have we seen these doors, like?
Yeah,
Do we know?
Yeah.
Matt walk through.
Well, Scott and I.
No, I think you're talking about the
No, the
replacement. doors.
replacement.
I have
They're,
that.
they're per the architectural
They're
specs.
specs, yes. They're
Okay.
fire
I got
resistant
'em.
metal doors.
And they'll look very similar. If you go up to the third floor in the high school, there's a few that have already been replaced. Again, they said they look very similar to
If
those.
you want, I got them.
But knowing that the bid came in almost,
Half.
half what we were projected, it's good news because we already were budgeting about roughly $500,000 to spend in this time while we have these bonds, and they're a fire hazard and a safety hazard, and it's something that, we really need to replace. So it helps us to save this money upfront.
So we get to vote.
Good to vote?
As is.
Okay.
All right, so we're voting now, okay, on just the first motion.
Because they have
Which
to
is
go
the whole bill.
individually.
No.
No,
That's,
they have
that's
to
the
go,
base bid.
Oh, we gotta go.
bid will
We have
go,
to-
and
we
then
have
it
to
adds
accept
together,
this.
yeah.
Okay.
You with me?
Can we do one motion to
Yeah.
approve all three bids? I guess you have to amend the minutes. Never mind, let's just
That's
go.
fine.
Sorry, let's go.
I can read them in one time and you can take one vote.
Okay, that's fine.
Sounds good.
All right.
We're ready to vote building.
We're gonna do the whole building.
So the second motion is the Board of Education approves the first alternate bid of $134,092 to replace the doors and door frames of the main floor at Morrison High School from Valley Construction of Rock Island, Illinois. And the third motion is the Board of Education approves the second alternate bid of $92,135,000 to replace the doors and door frames of the bottom floor at Morrison High School from Valley Construction of Rock Island, Illinois.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Samhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folker's,
Yes.
Pivotalson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, moving along to new business. We have the north side, south side accounts.
So we have two motions here. I'll do them at one time. The motion is the Board of Education approves the creation of a Southside Student Incentive Account. And motion is the Board of Education approves the creation of a Northside Pop Activity Account.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So for years, the buildings have shared a Pop Activity Account. This is creating their own accounts, which allow them to do student incentives and things like that for their buildings.
What's a pop activity?
Money that goes from the pop machine goes into an account.
So pop
And the teacher's lounge.
It's the kindergarten.
Wow.
All right, do we need to roll call this?
No.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The district lease approval.
All right, I have to do these separately.
Okay.
because you have to talk about it. So the first motion is the Board of Education approves the quote from SBM to lease copiers and printers for 5 years through Leaf Capital.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
In your board packet, there's a breakdown. This is cheaper than what we've got right now. We have always leased our copiers and our printers. SBM has treated us very, very kindly over the last couple of years. We had a second company come in and make a very attractive offer, less money. SBM came in and met that. I met with Jeff Gray, who was our representative. He came in and the first thing he said is, my boss said, do whatever we can to keep Morrison. So as you can see, brand new copiers, newer models, more tray space, faster print speeds, all of that. And it's about $30 a month less.
Yeah.
And this is out of the lease levy. So not coming from the ed fund.
Right.
Do we buy our paper through them?
Through SBM?
Yeah.
No, we go through a different company for that.
Okay, so it's not. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Samhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folker's,
Yes.
Pivotalson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes.
Second motion is the Board of Education approves the quote from Bytespeed to lease 160 Chromebooks through American Capital Finance.
Do I have a motion?
Second. Again, years ago, we used to use lease funds to do Chromebooks. We went away from that when we had working cash reserves. We used to buy them out of that. And since we have that depleted, we have to go back to leasing. So it'll be a 5-year lease, at the end of which we will have a buyout or we pack them up and return them.
Why is it only 160?
That's the number, that's 2 classes. So we do memory serves, I wish Wayne was here, freshmen and sixth graders, I think, get new ones.
We have to look to see how much our kids actually use Chromebooks.
We're looking at the lower levels, specifically at Northside, of maybe moving away from Chromebooks and back to iPads is the discussion, I think, from some of the Northside teachers. But I think 6 through 12, they're used on a regular basis.
And does everything with like our insurance on the Chromebooks and like if they were to
That's
get damaged?
all included,
all
and that's all included in the lease.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Singleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Eagleson,
Yes.
Trumbo,
Yes.
Danlock,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the Morrison High School Junior ROTC and Firefighter Explorer Program.
This is Mr. Mills. He would like to begin a discussion about adding these programs at the high school.
Sure.
So each of these would be like, these would be volunteer clubs, wouldn't cost the district anything. The Explorers program is one I've had before. When I was the principal at Alwood, our local volunteer fire department, just like here, ran an Explorers program, and the kids, when they met certain requirements, they would do training. All this would occur outside of school hours. It would just simply be something we kind of liaison on that. And it's a good thing. I like to encourage it once, like I said, once I kind of saw the benefits of it. Ultimately, by the time some of these students were done, they were 18, they were registered volunteer firefighters, they got a pager. We worked out an agreement where they could leave school if they got a page call because that was needed. They were volunteer firefighters. And then, like I said, some of them went on, either went to school to get more training and then became like volunteer firefighters long-term. It would just be an opportunity we offer through WAC, vocational classes for law enforcement, on-the-job training for a lot of other things. This would just be one of those opportunities if the board were in support of that to start. I have 3 students. I kind of figured 5 to 6 would be a good number. I had about 3 or 4 at Alwood with about 100 kids. So I've had 3 students express interest that are sophomores or juniors this year. So we're going to sit down and kind of talk to them. The fire department, I think, will move forward with this either way and kind of do it on their own. If we did it, it would just involve very little other than possibly just helping communicate and contact people if they need things. The ROTC program, I don't have a lot more on that. My business candidate that you guys have in front of you tonight is retired from the military, was an officer, went through ROTC training, and actually did ROTC class training at Northern Illinois University. So he just asked if it was something we had in place. He was interested in maybe starting a group, and it would officially give the students credit and training that then if they went to college or straight into the military would get them rank advancement, higher pay rates, and better access to jobs in the military, which we have plenty of students that join the military and it would be kind of a leg up for them. So just a couple opportunities that really wouldn't cost anything other than I have 2 people or groups that are interested in kind of making this happen with us. So any questions?
For the junior ROTC, would this be a club after school?
I think those are details to figure out. It wouldn't do it during the day. It wouldn't necessarily be a class. Mr. Kilker had an interest in doing whatever it took. I was able to beat the number he came to me with, but he said he would work for free. So he is just ready to go. He's ready to give back. Schools don't generally get people like this, and I mean people with his training and expertise. He's going to be a great addition. Really sharp guy. I'm really excited just to work with kids and be a leader. He was great after his interview. Just kind of, if I needed it, just jazzed me up all day. So.
Okay. Oh, I was just thinking if he wants to do it as a club and then we want to, pay for it, then we have to relook at that.
Yeah. No, this is not anything that's going to cost us anything right now. I mean, if it becomes a success and I bring that to you later, that's a different story. But right now, it's just a couple things I think our students will have interest in and will benefit from and will cost us nothing. So.
Okay. Sounds good.
Just like I said, just bringing you guys in on and if you have any questions too.
Okay.
The fire department is very on this.
Yeah, like I said, I saw it at Alwood. It was really neat to see the kids and see these kids that maybe kind of didn't have a niche, right, and kind of fit in there. And then they go really cool because I lived in Galesburg at the time, and they have a training tower out there with these with some facilities. So I knew the places they were going, and to see these. You have 3 stacking crates or shipping crates stacked on end to simulate a building. They have to run up these with the hose and all the equipment on, and these kids are going and doing this, and it was really cool to see. So
These guys are looking for volunteers.
And then it serves the community and it's an added benefit to everybody. It works out for everybody.
Okay, awesome. Moving along to the Morrison Junior High School schedule change.
I sent an email out a couple weeks ago regarding the potential to change the junior high schedule. Right now, we do a reading class, a literature class, and an ELA class. We double block English. Mr. Robbins came to me with this potentially, it's something we've informally talked about over the last couple of years, but with a recent resignation from one of our teachers, I felt now might be the time to make that change, which would allow us to not replace that teacher through attrition, saving the district a little bit of money. There's some questions from the board, so we have Mr. Robbins here, and he's free to answer anything you may have. So,
Do we have any English teachers here?
No, not right now.
No. Okay.
The question was posed to me about what do other districts in the area do, and it's split. Some do it, some double block, some don't. So in this case, we would move from an 8 academic period day at roughly 40 minutes a period to 7 academic period day at roughly 45 to 50 minutes.
Mr. Robbins, is this what you feel is best for the school and students?
That's a tough question because, as we look at those MAP assessment scores, once again, I've always felt, I shouldn't say that, I've always known our teachers are doing a good job. It was just motivating kids to do well on the assessments. And obviously we've done that. So I think it's a tough call right now because I can't say where our scores would be if we didn't have, an 80-minute block.
What do they do in both classes?
What's that?
What do they do in each class?
Well, so we use we use
Ben Knight.
junior high was tough years. We use the EL curriculum, so it is a blocked curriculum. So really, we'd still maintain the same thing. We talk about a separate literature class, kind of a literature class and an English class, with the idea that the literature class is the reading side of it, and the English class is the writing side of it. But that's not really how it works out with this curriculum. It is intertwined both, so it's not like, oh, we're going to read this hour and then, we block these kids. We try to do our best to block the same kids in second hour as in sixth hour. That way, if the teacher maybe doesn't get quite the same, to the same thing or quite as far in the lesson, they'll have kids trying to pick up something.
But every day they pretty much have like a set amount of time to read, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually,
so that would be cut down.
That would be cut down.
Be expected to do that outside.
Outside of the classroom. It is beneficial. I just talked with our librarian. We did have students check out 1,000 more books this year from our library than last year. So the number of students reading has increased greatly with that. So yeah, like I said, I think you kind of saw the cons. The cons obviously are to get 34 minutes less of ELA a day, which is going to be over 150 minutes a week.
What does that do to class size then? If we go down to 2.
Class sizes they'll increase a little. I mean, they're still not going to be unmanageable. They'd be in the 5th grade class coming up, if I understand, with 76 kids right now. So you'd be looking at 25, 26, 27 kids, depending on how the classrooms work out. So once again, not it's manageable.
You're happy with your schedule right now, though, right?
Once again, I don't see.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything that's better or not, compared to the two. Obviously, some of those other things you see in there, obviously our history teachers, our science teachers, our math teachers are going to be, I get 7 more minutes a day. Some of that idea was, well, with the extra minutes, maybe that would give time, for those students to work on, start the homework, maybe start working on things. I think all of you that have been teachers know, though, if you have 7 more minutes in a day, you're going to use 7 more minutes in your day. Those last little things that you didn't get in or you want to check on. So yeah, it's a tough call.
Just how about this? Give us feedback next year as we go through. If it's, don't be afraid to say, hey, we need to go back if that's your feeling going forward.
Well, once again, yeah, this was just this was that idea that with Allison Bracco resigning, like I said, the opportunity arose. If that's the way the board wants us to go, then that's the way we'll go.
I mean, I'm gonna be a little selfish. I mean, my daughter's in 5th grade this year. She's going into 6th grade next year. I'd rather have three English teachers than 2. I mean, that's, so.
And like I said, it's just really difficult with the map. Not that the map assessments are the tell-all,
Right.
but the increase we've seen this year.
What were they before you started incentivizing it?
Yeah, that's what I mean, but it's hard to say.
So you've done double block for how long, and they've been average at best?
Probably low as far as growth and all that. But here's the other thing.
So
We've also only
say
had.
that if you're below average, that double blocking, it hasn't been effective for student learning.
What was that, sorry?
If they've been below average for how many years, and you've been double blocking it for how long, it hasn't been an effective tool.
And that's going to be the hard part, is determine was it. Once again, I've known our teachers are doing what they're supposed to. I know they've been doing the lessons going. No, I know all that. It was just finally what we had to find a way to motivate the kids to want to do well. And obviously, I think for anybody in here that has kids, and especially junior high age, that can be a challenge sometimes. To find what motivates them if it's not 3.5 inches by 5 inches, to be on. So, like I said, it's just a discussion item. Just kind of want to let you know. The other thing
I guess we need to do this because if we're not doing it, we need to replace Mrs. Brocco. So what's the general consensus of the board?
because right now we don't have that position posted.
Right.
And we need to post it if we're going to.
I mean, my sense is, it's hard without knowing exactly what the junior high teachers are feeling in that, but, I'm always on if we can give them more time, I mean, certainly that's ideal, right? To have more time in those classes, and have the two, like you were saying, is my first opinion. And if we can, I mean, the key is, can we get a good replacement? Because that also makes a difference. I think if we don't have one, I think we have to examine that.
Yeah. And we don't have any LA teacher. We have a math teacher here. Mrs. Johnson's here. She tried to be the one that, the 7 minutes make a difference. I mean, in a day you may think, oh, maybe not, but in a week you're talking an extra 35 minutes, possibly.
How long are your class periods right now?
What's that?
How long is the class period right now?
40 minutes right now. So it'd be 47. So it essentially it follow the high school schedule just about. So then we do have
8 academic periods plus a study hall plus a homeroom.
Yeah.
So what are the teachers at
No,
junior
that's
high
not
think?
right.
What's
It's
that?
not, it's 7 academics
Is it
and a
7?
study hall and then a homeroom. So we would be switching it to 6 academics.
It'd be 6
study hall.
academics.
No, you drop study hall, right?
No, not with this one. We'd be taking away the second block of ELA. That makes sense.
And so you have 6 classes and a study hall?
Yeah, they have their 4 core now, and then they have the PE, and then they have the rotation, which is like art, health, those types of things, and then they have.
How long is study hall? Half hour?
So it's
Right now it's a
like
period.
class period.
It's a period, yes.
Because the road.
It's a period.
Oh, it's not just at the end of the day.
And homeroom at the end of the day.
Oh, how long's homeroom?
20 minutes.
25.
Is it beneficial?
Yes.
It is because that's a time where.
That's the first teacher I've ever heard say.
It is. Well, that's the time though, if a kid didn't finish an assessment, that's the time to go do it, where they can go to the classroom, they get that. We also use that homeroom as our RTI time, it's our tier 2 intervention time. So some of our homeroom teachers maybe only have 8 to 12 kids where they're working on it if they struggle with math or reading, they specifically go to a math teacher or a reading teacher or, to work. And then some of our homerooms are kind of an additional study hall, but they may have 25, 26, 27 kids in them because those are students that don't, at that time, need RTI services to help them. So, and then I should also say the other thing we do with our study hall is we do a 20-minute PE pullout every day for students who are either missing a certain number of assignments. Once they have 5 missing assignments, we pull them out of PE for a little bit to help try to get those caught up. And then also if they're failing classes, we also pull them during that time. And for our teachers, the way it works is with 2 preps, they got the 60 minutes of prep. So they have 1 free prep, and then the other prep, they take students for 20 minutes, work with them on. So you could kind of call it RTI, I guess a little bit RTI, but it's more homework based, trying to make sure they're getting, assignments done, completed, turned in. A lot of times those teachers, once a kid gets an assignment done, they will bring it to the teacher and say, hey, here it is, it's done, because these are students who maybe are a little less organized, forgetful, those types of things. So we do utilize the study hall time. It's not study hall, but it's additional time for the students to work to complete stuff.
Joe, I do like Dustin's ideas. What if we try it? Would your building and staff be all right with that? And then if it was an absolute terrible, we change it? Or I guess, what do you guys want to do?
I mean, the changing part, I think, it's something we've talked about, and Ms. Johnson actually, something else that isn't necessarily with the board, but something we've talked about doing with our 7th grade. But really the kicker with this one is we will have to make some adjustments to the bell schedule. I don't know if you noticed that. Currently, the only computer that we can find to run our bell schedule, since it's pretty old, is one that I have. I think it was my one from my first year as being a principal, so it's 16 years old. But the screen's out, so the computer works, but the screen doesn't work.
What's it with you and screens over there?
Well, I know. So we're gonna see if we can get that taken care of. But it's obviously 25 years old now. It's just a little, up there. So there would be some things. The other thing I think just to think of is we do share some teachers with the high school. We'd have to get much more creative on that, because right now the way it works out pretty good. If we're sharing them, we usually have them like 1st and 2nd hour. And since our classes are a few minutes shorter than the high school, it gives travel time for teachers to get from the junior high back over to the high school, where if we're on that same schedule,
it's a tough passing period.
You're probably looking at them showing up a minute or 2 late for a high school class. If they have, now that's, once again, not to say we can't sit and figure it out, but maybe they have 1st hour at the junior high, and then they got 2nd hour prep.
Yep.
Or vice versa, or we work our schedule a little bit. So there would be a few logistical things in there we'd have to work on. So.
Is there anyone that is adamant that we change? Otherwise, my recommendation is you post the position, see what you get. If you don't get anything, then you're gonna have to change no matter what.
That's kind of my thought, yeah.
I support that.
So we're gonna post and see what we get.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving along to the FMLA request.
Motion is the Board of Education approves the FMLA request of Jeff Brands, head custodian at Morrison High School.
Do you have a motion? A second? Would this be roll call?
No.
No, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Moving to the June meeting date change. I'll take this one. I have a conflict on our scheduled date on the 17th, and I wasn't sure if people would be able to do the next Monday. I didn't know an easy way to talk to everyone legally without open meeting act violations, so.
You can't go sooner.
No.
Because by law, you have to have the amended budget posted for 30 days. And if you go to the 10th, that would be 30 days. You don't have to do it on Monday.
I could make 17th anyway, so 24 sounds good.
Does that generally work?
Yeah, I'll be too. I'll be in Boston.
Okay.
That's no excuse.
Well, if it's easier just to send a poll potentially and throw out a couple different date ideas, since we have plenty of time before, does that work better?
You can't go earlier, it's the only
No.
day.
I mean, you could go the 8th, you could go anytime after the 17th. You could go the 18th to the 21st or anytime the next week.
Okay, I'll be gone all that week for a camping trip. With no internet.
The 27th?
Yes.
That would be.
I got 24th through the 27th.
Okay. All right, well, we won't decide this tonight. I just wanted to throw that out there and see if there was a general consensus. So we move along. Okay, So moving to certified staff.
Do you want to do these all at once?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. The motion is the Board of Education approves the hiring of Anna Houter as a certified math teacher at Morrison Junior High for the 24-25 school year. And that the Board of Education approves the hiring of Jonathan Hendricks as a certified ag education teacher at Morrison High School for the 24-25 school year. And that the Board of Education approves the hiring of Shayna Hudson as a certified second grade teacher at Northside Elementary for the 24-25 school year. And the Board of Education approves the hiring of Kevin Kilker as a certified business teacher at Morrison High School for the 24-25 school year. And that the Board of Education approves the hiring of Rachel Tomaszewski as a certified elementary music teacher at Northside and Southside Elementary for the 24-25 school year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Stevenson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Wilkins, Damhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Moving along to the reorganization of the IT department.
Motion that the Board of Education approves the elimination of the system administrator position for the 2024-2025 school year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call?
Damhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes.
I think we need to amend this. I think it needs to be that the motion of the Board of Education approves the hiring of Alan as a voucher.
It's voucher, right?
Voucher, yes.
Voucher, pending
Okay,
negotiation of a
okay,
agreement.
sure, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Are you good with that?
I didn't hear you.
I think we need to amend this because I don't think you guys have worked out contract details yet.
Okay, yeah, that's
So I'm just gonna amend it to
Sure.
say pending the negotiation of a agreement,
Sure.
contractual agreement. So we're gonna amend this motion. So the motion now is the Board of Education approves the hiring of Alan Boucher as interim superintendent of the Morrison School District for the 24-25 school year pending the successful negotiation of a contractual agreement with the board.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? Okay, roll call?
Damhoff,
Yes.
Angleton,
Yes.
Folkers,
No.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Brombo,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, so at this point, we will be moving into a closed session. There'll be no votes after that. And then we will adjourn.
Thank you all.
All Okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah, there's.
I enjoyed watching, moving right along.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Oh, okay, sure.